Alright, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to see how to apply RU release update patch latest one on 2 Node RAC. Okay, I have a 2 Node RAC configured on Oracle 19c database. There we are going to see how to apply the RU patch, latest RU patch on grid home and database homes. So to apply the patches on grid home, it is very critical part and also a very important thing as well. I'll make it very easy for you guys. Once you're done with this video, end of that video, you will learn how to apply the grid patches, including your database home patches. First of all, we need to understand what is this grid and what is this database homes and how we are going to apply these patches, right? We need to first understand the differentiate or difference in between the standalone database and RAC database servers. Then we can proceed with the patching thing. So this is our standalone database. These two are our RAC databases, RAC. 2 Node RAC, node 1, N1, N2. So in this node, same way we are having another node, it's a non-RAC. This is non-RAC. Okay. For each and every server without operating system, we cannot able to use it, right? Same way we have operating system install. Even in a RAC, node 1 also operating system is there, node 2 also operating system is there. On top of this operating system in non-RAC, we are not going to use any grid or cluster softwares. We directly install the DB software. DB software. On top of this, we are going to configure the database. This database is having CRD files, control file, redo log, and data files. So if you want to apply the patches, we are going to apply the patch on this portion only, database home. We call it as Oracle home. Only this home we are going to apply the patches. Why we need to apply the patch? What is patch? We have discussed those in separate sessions on Oracle database patches under. For high level steps, patches to fix a particular bug. If you are having any issues or bugs on your database, we need to apply those. We need to fix that bugs by using these patches. Okay, patch is nothing but to fix a particular bug or to update any database software level versions. Also, we can use the patch. Okay, how we are going to apply this patch? By using opatch utility. Opatch utility. Another one is there that I'll tell you once we discussed here. So in non-RAC databases, we are having only single home. So we are going to apply the patch on this part. Now in this session, we are discussing about RAC portion. We are not touching this part. Okay, we are not touching. We are going to apply the patch on this RAC environment. Similar way, we have operating system on node 1, node 2, but we need to install the cluster software here. ASM, in my case, ASM cluster and ASM. So shared storage ASM, I can say grid infrastructure software we are going to install. For your understanding purpose, I mentioned ASM 1 and 2, but here it is ASM is storage and instance. Okay, but I can say it's a cluster home, grid home, GI or GH, grid home. Here also we have installed the cluster binaries, a cluster software that is grid home 2. So grid home 1 and grid home 2 we are having. On top of this, we are going to install the database software, 19c DB software. Here also we need to install the 19c DB software. So software we installed. This one is DB instance 2, this one is DB instance 1. Okay, on top of this, we are going to install the database, CRD files, control file, redo log, and data files. Okay, these files we are going to share or put in ASM or shared storage. Through that shared storage, we can able to access from this instance also. We are not going to configure the database here. We are configuring single database. That database we are going to use it with multiple instances. This is one instance. If you want to install another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how many instances you required according to that. We call it as this one is 5 node rack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 node rack. Okay. But in my case, I'm using 2 node rack only. So we are not going to use these 3 also. But I'm just giving, if you are installing n number of nodes also, your database is only one. That is shared by all these instances. All these instances are able to access the single database. That's where we call it as high availability. If any one of the node is down or the server is not working properly, then we can able to access, still we can able to access this database using other 4 database nodes. Even 2 database nodes is down, you can access your database in another 3 instances or database servers you can use, and then you can access. That's where rack will provide high availability and the high performance as well. That is different topic, guys, leave it. So in this case, we have 2 nodes, but each node is having grid software and database software, grid software and database software. We are going to apply the patches on these 2 homes, and here also these 2 homes. So we have 2 nodes, we need to apply the patches on total 4 homes, 2 database homes, 2 grid homes. So what we need to do is, in a rack environment, we have 2 options. We can completely shut down both the nodes, including the cluster and database. We can apply that. We call it as non-rolling mode. Non-rolling. Non-rolling means both the nodes we are going to shut it down, and then we are going to apply the patches on both the nodes. And another option is the rolling mode. Rolling mode is nothing but this node is up and running. I'm going to apply the patch on this node. Okay, at the time of patching of this node, users are able to connect to this node and they are going to perform their operations. So high availability, like even though we are going to apply the patches we are applying when the database is up and running on other node, and node 1 and node 2 we are going to keep down, and then we are applying the patches. Once the patch is applied here, we can make it up this node, and then we are going to stop this node and we are applying the patch on this node. While we are applying the patches on this node, users can able to connect to this one. So this operation we call it as rolling fashion or rolling mode. So non-rolling or rolling. Which one we want to go according to our business and requirements, we can go ahead and do the patching. Okay. So these 2 are the modes, non-rolling and rolling mode in rack environment. So I think you understand now what kind of patches we are going to apply, why we need to apply those patches. Difference is this, only we are having Oracle home on non-rack environment, but here we are having extra grid home. For this grid home also we need to apply the patch, and also we have an option to do non-rolling and rolling fashion mode. That is the high level background of the patching, guys, in rack environment. Let's see now. So in this session, I'm going to show you the patching on grid home and database homes. We can go for rolling mode only. I'm not going to rolling mode. If any issues happens, like rolling mode is not enabled, and if something goes wrong and it is failed, I can show you that non-rolling also. But as of now, I'll plan to show you this rolling fashion. Okay, what are all the steps which we are going to follow? See, 11 steps I have defined for this patching. First one is pre-checks on all the nodes. Like we have, as I said, we have 2 nodes, right? Node 1 and node 2. We need to do the pre-checks, database level and grid home level. Here also database software level and grid home level. We are going to apply the patches on these homes, right? First of all, we need to take the backup of this DB home and grid home. This DB home and grid home. So what will happen? We are going to apply the CPU or RU patches, release update patches. The patch size is around GBs, 1.5 GB, 2 GB or 3 GB. So that much software is going to change. 1 GB data is going to change on these nodes. So if anything goes wrong while you are applying the patch, the home is corrupted, unfortunately. But how we are going to restore the home, right? If it is a database, we have a backup, we are going to restore it, but it is a software, right? So for any kind of CPU or critical activity on the databases, we need to take the complete backup, CRD files, all the database backup, we need to take RMAN full backup, and the software level, database home backup, grid home backup also we need to take. That is prerequisite. That is important also. Okay. That is good practice to do as a DBA. So also we need to check as part of the pre-checks, not only the backups, we need to look into the customizations. If you are having anything, take those customizations, DB links, backups, everything you can take. Also, if any configure like uh, our TNS names, network files, Vara inventory, you can take that backup as well. If you take the Oracle home complete home backup, everything is automatically included in that part. So no need to take individually. DB links, other things you can take a backup. Even though you have a full backup, you can take that as well. So these are all the pre-checks. Also, we can check the patches which are applied on the current homes. What is the patch level now? Like latest RU patch, which is there on our Oracle home. I'll show you that as well. Okay, that is also one prerequisite. And then we need to download the patch, which CPU patch we are going to apply. Like as of now, what is your patch level in your database? That we need to check. And then next, what is our target? Like whether we are going for October CPU or whether we are going for April CPU. As of now, we are in a December month. So we have the latest patch from October month. The next next patch will released on next month, January 2024. So as of now, we are having 2023 October RU patch. So we need to download that patch. Okay, and then we need to copy that patches to our servers, both the servers, right? Whatever the patch we downloaded, we need to upload to this server and this server. To place that patch, we can create one patch directory and we can keep that patch directory for all the patches. Okay, all the patches, and also we can create internally. I'll show you the practically. Okay, let me conclude the theoretical part. So this patch we need to download and then copy to the database servers. We are having, in our case, we are having two database servers. This is my node 1 and this is my node 2. The patch needs to be copied to this server, RAX1 server and RAX2 server as well. Once that is done, take an invalid counter. This we can make it as part of pre-check only. No need to specially mention. But why I mention it is it's very important, guys, for CPU patches, RU patches. When you are going before applying that patch, you can take complete invalids and try to compile it before going to the patch. Okay, and even though you have compiled, still you have some invalids, keep note down those invalids. By creating a spool file, we can take the backup of invalids. This is very important. Why? Because after applying the patch, we need to again take the invalids before and after. How many invalids we are having? If it is generated more invalids after applying the patch, that is issue, right? To identify so many objects, if it is invalid, then we need to identify it is because of this patch. How we are going to identify? If you took the backup of these invalids before applying the patch, and then after applying the patch, again you took the invalids, then compare both the invalids report. If it is excessive invalids generated, we can easily identify that excessively generated invalids. Those we try to compile it. If you are unable to compile it, we can raise an SR with support. They will support us. Okay, that is the importance of invalids. And then check the patch conflicts. Once we download the patch, we need to copy to these two servers, as I said, 106 and 107 servers, and then unzip it. That will create a directory, patch directory. Go to that patch directory and run the conflict. Okay, before running this conflict, we may get some issues because of OPatch utility. So if you are applying last quarter OPatch utility, that is fine. If you are not able to apply last 1 year, the RU patches and all, OPatch utility version is very old. You have to have upgrade your OPatch utility before going to the CPU patch. Otherwise, your patch itself, it is not going to forward. That's where OPatch utility upgrade. We'll see that how we got to know OPatch utility need to upgrade and which version we need to upgrade. Everything I'll show you. This information is mentioned on our readme file of the patch. Okay, I'll show you that. Once this is done, the patch conflicts and all, if any patches is conflicting the main patch which we are trying to apply, first we need to fix those conflicts. Okay, if you are not seeing any conflicts, then we can directly apply the patches. Before applying the patches, we need to stop the database and the listener and stop the grid services. Why? Because we are having two homes, right? First, we need to stop the database services and then grid services we need to stop. Then unlock the grid home. Why? Because it is recommended to unlock the grid home. What will happen while applying the patch? The permissions will be there. It is automatically OPatch utility will try to read this grid home and it is trying to modify the permissions. So if you lock this grid home, unlock this grid home. Unlock means we are giving complete access to the OPatch utility. That will change it, whatever it is required, wherever it is required, it will change the privileges of the grid homes directories. If it is locked one, right, that OPatch utility is trying to, OPatch auto utility is trying to update the grid home directories permissions or other things, that will fail it. Obviously, our patch will be failed. That's where we need to unlock first. After applying the patch, you can lock it. That's it. So this is very, very important command. This command is locked. That is one scenario. That patch will be failed. There is a possibility. And if it is unlocked, our patch is having full rights to do whatever that OPatch utility wants to do. So we have given full privileges. For that, we are going to unlock it. And also, we are taking the grid home backup, right? Whatever the things are going to change now while applying the patch, that is applying on the existing grid home. If the grid home is corrupted during the patch, we can remove complete grid home and we can take the backup. Whatever the backup we take, right, as part of the prerequisite, that backup we can restore it back and then we can start the grid services. That's where it's very, very important to take the Oracle home and grid home backups during the RU patches or CPU or patch sets, everything like major patching activity or major changes. Once this is done, we need to apply the patch. Okay, the patch we can apply individually by using OPatch utility. Individually means first you can apply on grid home, connect to grid user and then go to the grid home OPatch utility. There you can use OPatch command to apply this patch. Okay, that is also possible. And then you can connect to Oracle user, apply the database patch by using OPatch. That is also possible, one way. Another thing is you can connect to root user. This is our OS, right? Operating system level root is admin user. Connect to root user and apply the grid home patch from root user individually. You can apply grid home first and then you can apply database home by using OPatch auto utility. OPatch AUTO auto. This is the utility to apply the patch. We can do individual homes at a time patching or both the homes at one go. If you want to apply grid home and database home patches, we can apply at a time by using OPatch auto. As of now, we are having single database on these servers, but in our real-time environment, we can see multiple databases, 4 nodes or five, not only 4 nodes, 5 databases on the server, 5 databases on the server. Grid will be the single only. It is not, grid is for complete database server level. Database is related to individual, right? I have production DB1 is there, production DB2 I can install again. Same grid will help all the databases. Okay, that we can discuss later on for multiple databases on single server. Okay, that is also possible. So if you have multiple databases, like in our case, one database is there. If you have 5 databases plus one grid is there. Okay. So if you apply if you apply the RU patch for all the 6 nodes, 6 homes, 5 Oracle homes, one grid home. By using OPatch auto, we can apply all these homes at one shot. One shot we can apply the patch for all these homes. That much power of this OPatch auto. This will run from the grid user, root user, not the grid. Connected to root user and we can initiate this. Okay, that is that much power of this OPatch auto. OPatch utility also we can use, but individually we can connect to the homes and we can apply individual one by one home. That will take time. Sometime if your grid is having issue, rolling fashion is not enabled, there is some issue with rolling fashion mode. At that time you can individually apply by using OPatch utility. Okay. By using OPatch utility, you can apply first grid home, then database home, and then you can start up the services. Then you can shut down the services, first apply the grid home and then apply the database home. To order to apply the patches, first you have to have apply the whatever the patches you are going to apply on grid home first, then only DB home. Okay, grid is base, right, of the database. That's where we are going to apply the base. Then on top of this base, we have the database. Those databases we can apply the patch. Okay, once we applied the patches is successful, then you can log the grid home and then start the grid home services and database services. Okay, that is the thing. Again, if you want to apply the patch on another node, okay, another node, you can go ahead and do the same steps you can follow, and then there also we can apply the patch node 1, node 2. Once this database workbox we need to run after you applied the patches on both the nodes. You have successfully applied and you started the node 2, and then we need to apply the patches on node 1. You can shut down the services and apply the patches on grid home and database home. Then start up this node and lock, again lock thing. Individually we can lock and unlock it. Lock this grid home and then you can run any one of that node. Okay, this database patch workbox we can run from any one of the node. No need to run on both the nodes. Why? Because we have single database, right? So it is going to update on the single database only. This is just an instance. Database workbox will update your DB registry, SQL's versions and all on the database level. So no need to run all the nodes. Even though you are having 10 node database instances, you can run only on one node database data patch workbox. When the database is up and running, we need to run this thing. Okay, and then take the invalid count and compare the previous which we took here, right, in this step 4. Compare that invalid count and these invalids, and if any excessive invalids generated, you try to compile it. If it is more than 50, 100 or 30, you can just try to compile. If still it is not compiled, you can contact to Oracle support for those objects, make it invalid. Otherwise some other functionality will not work. Okay, object is nothing but table of views, synonym, sequence, procedure. Those we call it as an objects. If any one of that object is going to invalid, like table is invalid, or some other package is invalid, package body is invalid, that functionality we may not able to use. That's where we need to keep objects should be valid. Okay, that's all about our theoretical part, how we are going to apply the RU patches. We can start the patching portion. Okay, I'll make it 2 parts. First part we make it as a theoretical one, part 1. Okay, and part 2 I'll make it as a lab. Okay, I'll show you that as well.